Welcome to Live Unashamed, where we pause the show and invite members of our team to talk vulnerably about their own recovery, things they're learning, the resources that are actually working, and what it truly means to live unashamed.
Sam,
Hello, James.
you know what one of the most difficult things about navigating like the web and YouTube?
What?
Clickbait.
Oh my gosh.
You know, I found this
Clickbait.
totally.
I spent too much money.
I saw this headline that's like, you know, on YouTube, and it's like, Jonathan Rumi like rips these guys on The View, and then I like watch it, and I'm like, nope, didn't happen.
Yeah.
It was just a normal interview on The View.
Yeah.
I'm like, thanks for the clickbait and wasting 10 minutes of my time. So anyway, if you're out there on YouTube and you see that thing, don't click on it. It's a waste of 10 minutes.
You know, it's funny. I've actually been waging
Unless
war
it's
on
like
that.
our
It bothers
clickbait
me
of
so
ours,
much.
'cause it's
Yes,
really
unless
good.
it's unashamed, unafraid.
Yes.
Wait,
Coolest podcast episode ever.
well, that's not clickbait. That's real,
That's real. That is real.
True story, bro.
right?
Yep.
So why would you even say that, man? So anyway, clickbait. That is one of the hardest things about navigating, you know, YouTube and the web, other than, I guess, like being tempted to look at pornography when you're navigating
true.
the web and YouTube or whatever.
Yeah, that's how they get you.
So
I
you're saying
just
recovery's hard.
Well, it can be.
can be.
I mean,
I think it's been hard at least one time. Like off, you know.
yes. Well, I found it more difficult than just once. Chris, what's been the most difficult? No, what was the most difficult part of your recovery?
Learning to be honest.
Why was that difficult?
So big for me because I'd never been honest in my entire life.
From childhood?
From childhood, growing up, just living my life in a lie since probably as long as I can remember. Just lying about stupid things that I don't need to lie about. To not get in trouble, to hide things that I was doing. So learning how to be honest was literally the hardest thing I'd ever done.
You know, I got to kind of ditto that. That was actually really hard.
Yeah, that was hard for me that was hard for me too.
That's what, that's what caused like a lot of the trouble in early stages of recovery was when I would like have a slip and she wanted to just know, like, just let me know so that I can know whether or not I want to choose to engage, you know, with you, you know, sexually or whatever, just so that I can have an idea of what my real story is and where you're at. And at the same time, like, I knew that if I was honest, it was going to hurt her feelings, that she might get mad at me, that she might not, like, she might be a little unkind or yell, you know? So all of those things were reasons why I gave myself excuses to not be honest. So yes, I concur that like probably being honest was one of the most difficult things and maybe the most difficult part of recovery.
Yeah.
Chris, what was like the hardest thing to be honest about? If you had to pick one thing, like, hey, you know, even if it's just the fact that you had been lying all along.
My thoughts.
Was it?
Yep, my thoughts.
What do you
literally
mean by
just-
that?
Because the how I was able to finally start being honest is checking in with my wife every single day. I would check in with her physically, emotionally, spiritually, and sexually. And it wasn't until when I was doing that, like checking in with her and being like, hey, you know what? So I was at the store and I was at the store, watched this woman for a while, just checked her out for a long time and then cared about my way. Or I'm just, you know, I was in temptation for a long time, didn't do anything about it, and finally just acted out, you know. So just the whole recovery process for me was really, really hard to just, when I would act out, we had a 24-hour rule to where I would have to tell her I would act out within 20, or that I acted out within 24 hours. And for me, the longest I ever went was 6 hours. Because I'm like, why am I going to sit here for the next 24 hours and not say a freaking word? And I'm going to just beat myself up, create more shame, and just create stress about it. And then I'm like, I just need to tell her because I need to learn how to be honest. And I'm like, regardless of what happens in how she reacted to it, I still had to learn to be honest and be like, I can't control her outcome, how she was going to get angry about it. And she had the right to be angry. And she handled it super well sometimes and super crappy other times. She was not perfect at it, and nobody is, right? Sometimes she gets super, super angry and yell and scream. And other times she's like, you know what? I need some time. And thank you for telling me. But I need some time to process this. And she'd walk away. And then she'd come back and we'd have a conversation around it. So it was just finally being honest, just continued to bless our relationship over and over again. Because that's what my wife always said, kind of like what Christy was saying to you, James. Like Autumn always said, I would rather have the smallest, the smallest truth over the whatever, biggest lie or something. I can't remember I can't even remember what she said. But what she was saying is it has nothing to do with the act itself. She goes, I just want you to be honest with me.
Yeah.
And that was just learning how to do that was really, really hard for me.
Sam?
I think the hardest thing for me is feeling guilty about sexual curiosity. I actually think that's a little bit more of a was thing.
Okay. How about the is
but there's
now?
The is now. The hardest thing in my recovery right now is I feel a real sense of imposter syndrome. Because I'm someone who people come to talk about their emotions, and I'm able to be a real calming presence. It's funny, right? Because I'm a pretty emotional person, right? But like, I do have that skill, and people will open up to me, and
I
sometimes
think you make that safe, and you have that gentle voice. You have a gentle, not persona, the word I'm looking for, like just your presence, overall demeanor. Yeah, there we go.
And so, I feel like I step into that role for people, and I'm a guy who can be depended on, and it's really difficult to play to be honest and authentic about the fact that I'm still struggling in addiction when a lot of people look to me and are like, hey Sam, you're this cool guy, and you feel like you seem like you really have life figured out, and you're like, it was kind of like all growing up, my mom pushed me to really, really, and she would admit this, excessive limits. I got very, very good at doing really, really difficult things because I was so afraid of not being good enough if I didn't succeed 100%.
You were going to prove that you were good enough.
Yeah, and so the one good thing about that is I became an extremely capable person. I've had a lot of experience in a lot of different areas, and I feel like people do respect me a lot, and it's hard for me to step out of the pose and just be like, I'm just a regular guy. That's been a real battle for me. I'm not to not try to kind of lead that on and be like, yeah, it's whatever. And be the advice guy, that's what's been hard about this podcast, because I come on here and I'm like, even you just corrected me. You were like, what is the hardest thing, right? Because I want to go back to what was, right, and act like I'm healed and act like I've learned the hard lessons and now I'm in a good place. And it's not like that. It's so freaking hard to just be real. I think because as a kid, I could just never be real. So that's been super hard. Actually, it's exactly what you were talking about, Chris. I never learned how to do that as a kid. Like, it was just like a skill, and I'm like, what is that? What do you mean be authentic? What do you mean open up and like actually like reveal, like at church, like I have a lot of like friends, and I've opened up about my story to a lot of people, and even in that vulnerability, it's hard not to step up and be like the one up position where I'm like, yeah, like I'm the guy that you ask me the questions. I know
Yeah,
I've
right.
figured it out, right? Like, no, I'm just a guy with you in recovery, and you and I are brothers, and we can connect. Extremely difficult.
Why do you think that is?
Because I think I'm afraid if people actually saw who I really was, they'd be a little disappointed. If they actually saw the real raw stuff that is I've hid my whole life. If they actually knew, like, oh, this isn't just something that like Sam like occasionally does, but like Sam actually is still relapsing multiple times a week, and he's able to like present himself so well, and like, he kind of like seems put together. But for me to be like, no, but like actually this part of my life is still like quite out of control. That's so hard. I guys have so much shame about that. There's so much shame about still being, I think that there's something I'm catching on as I'm talking about this out loud. I think that I'm just realizing I feel it's not okay to just be good enough. I feel like I always have to do more. I feel like I always have to be a step ahead and a step more recovered. And this is forcing me to step into it and be like, yeah, I'm just a dude in recovery. I don't have to be what I think people want me to be or what I think I need to be. They probably actually don't want that or need that. But it's a story I've told myself my whole life.
A real dude in real recovery,
Just a real dude in real recovery.
struggling with it,
Trying to figure it out.
like all of our listeners.
Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome to being human now, Sam. So glad you don't have to be
You're
Superman
giving
anymore.
me permission to be human.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of the work that I did with Accepted in Hawaii. It was about trying to earn it and keep everything together, and eventually it just broke me. At some point you can't keep it up anymore. It's not even worth it to in the first place. But
You think any less of Sam because he's a real dude in real recovery and he hasn't got it all figured out right now?
That's totally where I was gonna go and be like, just I mean, we obviously know you. We know what you're going through. We know your heart. We know you struggle. And guess what? We still love the hell out of you, man. Because you're our brother. And you deserve to be loved. You deserve to be loved by other good men. You deserve to be loved by God. Man, you deserve to love your freaking self. You deserve to love yourself.
thanks, Chris. We're gonna have to end this soon because
We're supposed to like get these all lighthearted, trying to a little bit, but man, this is good. Getting us all.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I've never believed that about myself. It's been a struggle. It's one of those shame scripts that still hangs around.
Clearly.
Yeah.
And I would say might be at the core of your struggle to find sobriety on a long-term basis.
Yeah.
And why you might find yourself relapsing a couple times a week.
Right. I'd say so. There you go. Do we get a hear from you, James?
So glad. I am so glad you don't have to be Superman anymore.
Hey, I'm glad too. That's actually that's kind of the theme, I think, for me has been over the last 6 months. I've been trying to tackle that. And it is really freeing to not have to be Superman. But there's clearly more work to do on that, because I'm having a really, really strong emotional reaction to this right now. And sometimes you have to like really go dig that closet out twice, because you just like, you thought it was all gone, and then you like, you turn on the light and you're like, holy crap, I didn't vacuum the floor. And there's like 4 coats in here that are way too small for me, and they're all ripped up, and I need to take them, throw them out.
Shame adventures, bro.
Shame adventure.
Yeah. Keep going on them. You know, I'll share the hardest part of mine, in another episode.
Okay.
Maybe you should have me and Christy on, and we'll re-record our story. It's been, like 7 years since we recorded our story. So I'm in a different place. She's in a different place. So we might be able to provide a little different perspective. And if you want to jot down the question of what was the hardest part, I probably won't forget, and I'll probably include that in the story. But yeah. Love you, Sam.
Thanks, guys. Love you too.
Love you, brother.
Well, guys, we want to hear from you. What's been the hardest part of your story? What's been the hardest part of battling addiction? Do you feel alone? Do you feel like God is disappointed in you? Do you feel like you don't have what it takes? What is it? We want to hear about it. Email us, Sam, Chris, James at unashamedunafraid.com.
And before you go further, I want to say, guys and gals, whoever's listening, like, we don't get enough emails about this stuff. Like, we tell you to email us, and maybe you're scared to email us because you're afraid we're not going to respond. We absolutely respond to these emails. So please, like, email us. We'd love to know what you're up against. Love you all.
Guys, if this was helpful to you, give us a 5-star rating, like us, follow us, hop on social media, find us at Unashamed Unafraid. And don't be afraid to stop by our website, unashamedunafraid.com/donate, if you want to become an outsider and get access to our bonus content, and give us a monthly donation so that we can further this cause and get it to more people. Thanks for listening. Remember, until next time, to live unashamed.